Hey, what is going on, guys? This is your boy here today, Dean from Burn One, and I'm going to be giving you guys my deck profile for my most recent top 8 in Chicago. Today, or at least this time, I brought Dragonmaid, and notice you might have seen this list before if you've been watching the topping list. This one is definitely Brian Liu's list from California with just a little bit of new technology. We took out one of the memory shooters and put in one of the shuffle backs to be able to side attack without soul penalty. And I just kind of want to go over the list and then like why I brought in what I really liked. So first we've got 4 of the Kanna Drop Search. Love this card. I love the fact that it gives soul to middle. It's definitely going to be able to help set up side attacks with this and this to dodge defensive counters that a Kanna board would be able to put up, or even a Sal board. Definitely very important on the finishing turns. And then also for the early game aggression, you're going to be drop searching for a combo piece, parking this in the back row, moving it up the next turn, and then getting 2 additional soul. Hopefully that translates into 2 extra damage, at least hopefully 1. We play 3 brainstorms just because in this list you don't want to brainstorm. I think you could cut this down to 2 just for something else. Honestly, this is one of the cards that could be cut. It's just, I think that the original list, I did like the idea that all of the utility cards you want to see. So you just play 3-3-3. I kind of liked it. And, but yeah, this is definitely something if you're looking to find some room in this list. I think the Brainstorm is the weakest card because you probably are not brainstorming with this deck, to be honest. We play 3 center runners. It's more of the fact I went second every single game, so this card had minimal actual value in my hand outside of the fact that it's 3,500. It never lived past the initial turn that I can think of. It's also terrible to see off the top tricks because sometimes you get on the low deck state, or you get on like the, you don't want to mill a lot, right, with your combo. And so you'll just kind of just take whatever the top card of your deck is. And when you've got all these utility cards, these are good to see, but then this thing is randomly a brick. So you could up it to see it earlier going first, but I don't think that you care enough about that one card in the early game 90% of the time. So I just kind of left it at 3. If anything, this card I almost wanted to cut. I think almost anything would be better than this, to be honest. Like a vanilla 4K or something. I need to actually look at the set. 3 of the Rem and Ram Bomb, the Ditch Sack Salvage. That's the only thing because you don't actually play a resonance target. The cards, it's just kind of like free grave access for your finishing turn because like you don't actually require any hand outside of this thing. So you usually have like pretty poor, because of this combo and sometimes being on like a compressed deck and not wanting to top check too much, sometimes your hand quality can be randomly poor. And so then going into your finishing turn, you're just able to get what you need. Very solid card. Ditch CX Salvage, well, this card, while it does bounce back to your hand, sometimes you kind of feel like you're forced to attack with it. So definitely play 3, and then sometimes it also opens up lines to be able to, like if you get completely flooded, play 1 down, grab another one, put the other one in the back row, slam the climax, bounce it back. That's 3 climaxes out of hand off of just 1 copy of this card in your opener. 3 savers, this is actually the most important card in the deck. Usually what you're going to be doing is double combo on one turn into double combo on the following turn. So being able to save one of the 2 combos and then being able to loop the combo again. Very rarely do you do triple because you top check 3. You'll always be able to slam climax over multiple turns. So even if you have 3 in hand, I like to opt for the 2 into 3 or 2 into 2 over just 3 into 1. 2 climax swaps. I also like the idea here, which is if you need to put down a climax swap, chances are your board configurations get weird. Like when you play a 1-of climax swap and you have to like ditch sack salvage for it or ditch this for it or do this. So it's like I always like playing 2 just to have it more often when I am in a bad situation. Because climax swaps, when you have to filter for 1, it always feels a little awkward. And then the shuffle back, this is to be able to dodge tap. Very powerful card. It's also able to put soul triggers back into your deck for your finishing turn, or be able to put non-soul triggers in, depending on what you need, but also characters. Like let's say you get down to a 1-card deck, boom, shuffle 2 back in. These will always hit. Very nice. And then on top of that, you know, everything else that I just mentioned. Level 1 combo is top check 3 add anything. So you're going to be able to play it on your bar turn after turn after turn. Little awkward because sometimes you are on the low deck state, but unlike a Magro, something that I do appreciate about this combo over something like, let's say, Amelia or, you know, Magro, is you can add anything. So while Amelia would be top check C climax, have to keep digging and keep destroying your deck more, sometimes with this on a fresh deck or like on like a very compressed deck, you can go top check 1, see the climax, doesn't matter, add it to hand, you still have like 3 extra in there, right? So you're able to process less cards consistently, leading to better deck states, especially in the mid game. Very powerful card and very loopable, because it does add anything. So you're going to be able to continuously check more and more for this. Like basically, if you have like 2 of this, right, you draw for turn, clock draw, boom, that's 3. Attack 3 times, 3 more, 6. And then that's up to 6 more if you just do 2. So it's 12. 12 chances to be able to find the gold bar for your following turn. We have the 1/1 Iru. This is a card that while I did want to cut, it does let you also stock a card on play. So it is basically a 1/0 1/1. I wanted to cut it, but if you see Quince, the blue 1/1, look at this deck. You can't actually do anything about the blue 1/1, and they're just going to be able to farm you. So I like to still keep it just to be able to put up some mid-game pressure on Quince, because I don't think Quince is very good if you can answer their 1/1, especially post-ban. So I definitely wanted to just be able to have the pressure if needed. Really does depend on how the meta shakes up. This is a very cuttable card, but it does have a soul trigger, so I would recommend a card with a soul trigger as well if you were to cut it. Deck is a little bit light on those. 1/0 Kanna. This is a grappling hook. It can randomly hurt your opponent, especially something like, I don't know, 7 Deadly Sins or something. It does depend. You'll know when you know if this is going to be good. But it also has top check 2 rearrange, which is very important sometimes for the end game. If you have like double Icy Tail, or if you have Icy Tail plus like double Iru or something, or you only have single Iru, you definitely want to select for this to make sure you at least get your 1 burn off, because the top check 2 rearrange is good. And it's also good in the mid game, because while like normally you're having a really good game, like let's say that you're having a game where you need that brainstorm, you need that sandbag turn, right? This is a very powerful card. You can top check 2 if you don't see a climax. You don't brainstorm, sandbag. If you do see it, then you know that you're like, maybe the stock cost will be worth it here. And actually, there was in one of my games, I'm trying to think if this was on the simulator. No, it was actually in round 2. I believe I had ate a lot of damage. I put this thing down. I see 2 climaxes on the top of my deck. And I think, no, it was actually my round 1. It was my round 1. Okay, sorry, apologies. But yeah, anyway, I had taken a lot of damage early. I put this thing down at level 1, and I see 2 gold bars. I have the access to the brainstorm, but because of this knowledge and the fact that I know I need to be able to cancel, right? Like my deck has too many climaxes in it, and I need to cancel, I ended up using the drop search. So top check 2 for information, always very powerful. Definitely you can leverage that in any game state to try to maximize your chances of canceling and or winning. The memory shooter, this thing gets 1,000 times board on play, including itself, so it's minimum 8k, but up to 12. And then when we look at this, like the power lines with the gold bar is 13, and then with the tap, give 1,500, we are 14.5, and with the bounce back, we get up to 15.5. Usually it's only one or the other, but the idea is that you're at least 14k, which is important because Kanata behind back row, behind counter is 14k. We're able to clear Kanata with this, and then we're able to clear Kanata with an Adachi. So these are your early play killers. And then this card, of course, is also good into things like Quince, just being able to remove the Nino 2/2. Very solid card, very relevant power lines, and we, of course, do have the power on with the gold bar. It's always at least 1,000 bigger, but we have the other pumps to make this thing relevant, and that's why I like this list. A lot of lists I saw did not have this, but this one did, and that's why this list is sick. The 2/1 Adachi, I Pump Soul, is actually very relevant. Especially in the mid game when like you have like a bad turn, because if you're fielding both of these, chances are you don't have one of these, or if you do, sometimes maybe it's like the one for the following turn and you're not really wanting to commit it. But then if you trigger a gold bar, you're able to pump soul somewhere. Definitely can help. with like lethal lines. There was like one turn where after surviving this, and then I managed to survive, I put this thing down, and then this thing down, and it gave me like a swing for 2. I hit a gold bar, boom, and then I get to pump another lane, and so I got to go for like 2-2-2 when he was 3-5. So very cool. I do like the extra soul pump, and I do like just the ability to like, you know, combo with this. Just an Adachi though, right? At the end of the day. The Iru finisher, I do kind of actually like where this is positioned in the meta, especially with things like this and this. Because it has the 3 symbols at the bottom, you're able to like actually just ignore the 3 decks that have defensive counters. Currently we have Bang Dream, if anyone's rich enough to own Christmas Cosmies or is a boomer like me. You have Sao, which has money counter. Usually though, and with this deck, they're going to be level 2 when you're going into your finishing turn. So they really won't have level 3s on board. Or you have Hololive, which will have level 3s on board. So this thing having 3 soul is very relevant for with the climax. And then of course you can pump it up with this and then get one to be able to side. And you're just able to dodge a lot of that garbage. And things like the Kazumi that has anti-burn only works if you are fronting it. So things like being able to pump it up to 5 to 6 soul and then being able to get one side attack in means you can actually dodge that anti-burn ability from your opponent. So it's a very powerful card. And while we don't play healers, this is usually enough to actually be able to seal the game. Because honestly, you're going to need a lot of stock for this thing. You have to pay on climax placement. So 9 stock, 11 stock. You'd be able to triple this plus stock swap is 11. 7 stock is stock swap, Icy Tail double or single. Or even double is like what, 6, 7, 8. 8 stock is like 2 of this plus stock swap or Icy Tail. Yeah, stock swap very good in this deck because of what our finisher does do. If our opponent is in any deck state that we can punish, we're going to fire this off, and it also salvages any character, so it's going to be able to get us the pieces that we need. Very important. And we also can get it out of our combo, so you always have this in hand, always sandbag it a little bit. The hand is usually going to be like boom, boom. It's going to be like boom, boom, like this maybe. Maybe like a 1-1-1 split at the end. And then the Icy Tail, let's draw 2, ditch 1, ditch 2 to Icy Tail. Very efficient. It helps curve out your stock at the end of the game, right? Like, and then also it's just like another thing. It's extra dig, extra hand fix, all around super solid card. It did let me down, but you know, happens. But yeah, that's the end of this deck profile. I do like the list. I think that there's a lot here. Like I said, though, I think that maybe one less brainstorm, a couple less runners, because when you're playing this deck, the last thing you want to see off of your top check on like a compressed deck is this thing, because while you're like, yeah, I'm fine taking anything, this card is like turbo cheeks. So yeah, but until next time, this is Dean signing out.